Welcome back to the Padilla Family Homestead. We are back for another tea time with Jen. Unfortunately, my daughter did not get a chance to record this one with me, so you have me all solo. But she is on a plane as I'm recording this, headed back to California. We had an amazing visit, and I have a renewed energy in doing things intentionally, because I see those things play out in her, and how much Junior and I doing things intentionally have been an example for her. And that's just awesome. And that's one of the main reasons why we make these videos and we're talking about things, because it helps her learn and it helps others learn. So it was a really, really good visit. We had tons of fun. I unplugged in a lot of ways. I did record a few things, but most of the time when I wasn't at work the first few days, after that we just hung out and had fun. So it was really good. So today's video was a topic that actually she really wanted to join me on. But it is boldness versus arrogance. And I hadn't really put a whole lot of thought into that until somebody at church, the church we go to, they do birthday blessings, which I think is awesome. And somebody had commented that one of the things they like about me, we had just barely been going there, maybe a month at the time. And they said one of the things they really liked about me was my boldness. And I was like, I'm not bold. I'm quiet. I don't know. It wasn't a word I would have used to describe myself. And it actually made me think. And so I really had to look at things and go, actually, I guess I am bold in a few ways. Other ways I'm not, in certain situations or topics or whatever. But there are things that I am bold in. And I think that in the world, boldness can be taken in a negative way, because we partner it so much sometimes. When some people are bold, they also are arrogant. And this is one that I think it's really good to have boldness, but having arrogance, I don't think is as good. And I know I would confuse the two. And so I wanted to share with you the definitions really fast. So to be bold is to have that's the wrong one. Okay. So to be arrogant is to have an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. So not an accurate view of one's importance or abilities, an exaggerated sense, right? So that is being arrogant, and arrogance is acting that out, basically. So boldness is the willingness to take risk or act innovatively. It's also confidence or courage. When you're talking about colors, it can also mean quality, strong, and vivid and clear in appearance. So if the lines are very bold, right, the bold colors, they're not muted into each other and fading in and out. There are bright, bold, you can tell what it is and that it is true to itself. And I think those two kind of show you where arrogance and boldness, one huge thing is, one is an untrue perspective of who they are and what they have to offer the world and what their knowledge is. And then the other one is just being who they are, and being who they are even if it's different than everything else and it stands out. And so when you look at those two examples, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be arrogant or do you want to be bold? I forgot to tell you what tea I'm drinking. I'm just drinking mint mentally tonight. It seemed like a good night for that. But, so that's pretty big on the difference. And I think most of us are going to say we don't want to be arrogant, right? We want to be bold. But how do we be bold without being arrogant? And I think that's having a few things in play. One, some of the areas that I think that I am more bold in is my relationship with God, my the food system, building a pantry, cooking from scratch, gardening, all of those things. I think that I'm very bold in. Well, guess what? Those go hand in hand in what I'm passionate about and what I have studied and what I have strong convictions in, and all the things that I have really dug into and have a lot of knowledge on, right? I can live boldly and confidently with courage differently than other people because I am so sure that these steps are the right steps to take. Whereas if I were living in arrogance, I would also be saying everybody else has to do this, or this is the only way to do it, or whatever else, and really giving this exaggerated thing. Whereas I don't think that. I think it's very important that you have responsibility in your life, in your house, with your family, what's going on in your world, to do it correctly and to do it well, and to do it with boldness. But that doesn't mean everybody else is going to live the same way and do the same things. And I think that right there can help you adjust where your heart posture is. Are you sharing things to share knowledge? Or are you sharing things saying you have to do it this way because no other way is right? Now, I know there's topics that are a little bit different on that. You have food safety, you have drinking and driving, things along those lines where I choose not to do certain things, and I don't think other people should do them either because they're going to die in one way or another or hurt somebody else. And so I think there are a few things where it comes into those lines where there's just right or wrong. And I think those are things that can interact with other people and hurt other people. And so those lines you have to be careful with. But other than that, most things we do in our life, who we decide to worship, who we're following in our life, how we're eating, if we do decide to garden, what we decide to wear, what music we listen to, who we hang out with, all of those things, how we approach our marriages and relationships. Do we choose to live with intention or do we not live with intention? All of those things are such a personal thing. And it is a choice that everybody has to make individually. Otherwise, it's not going to be authentic and true. And so this video is not going to be a super long one. It's going to be a shorter one. My main goal for you in sharing this is to really think about what areas in your life do you have passion about? What areas in your life are you living with boldness in? Are you living in arrogance? And should you be correcting that? And then the other one is, what areas in life do you wish you were living in boldness? And what can you do to change that and start living in boldness if you're not? What things can you eliminate, or what things can you implement and add in that are going to help you with that? And I wouldn't do an overhaul on all kinds of things. I talk about that all the time. Pick an area, pick one portion of it and start working on that and building a firm foundation in what you're doing. And I think it's important, though, to be bold and to be who you are and who God created you to be. And you are going to have passions for a reason, and to be bold in those passions, but to not cross the line into arrogance and in believing you are more than what you actually, or you know more than you actually do, or have better skills than you actually do, and so forth. Still be true, still be authentic and real and honest in who you are, and share, because I mean that's part of boldness, is people are going to want to know. There are people drawn to bold art because it is defined and strikingly beautiful in a lot of ways. People are drawn to bold people because their confidence is something that they desire and they crave in a way. It's something that they wish they can emulate inside of themselves, which they can. And then some people are not drawn to it. And I think that there's a lot of those things say a lot about what's going on inside. And I think there's a time, and I think there's a reason why some people are drawn to bold things or bold people, or they are not. They are drawn to the muted lines, the things where you can creatively come up with what it's showing. I don't know all the styles of art or whatever, but they give you an opportunity to choose what you see. The same thing with some people, when their personality isn't as bold, it takes more of an effort to get to know who they are really, because they're not confident in who they are. And so those are some things to take into consideration. So I would love to know if you have more input or comments on boldness versus arrogance. What are some areas that you are bold in? What are some areas that you wish you were bold in? And how do you implement keeping yourself bold without being arrogant? And that's it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you back for another video next week. If you like this style of video or any of our videos, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. We are doing Tea Time with Jen videos on Fridays, November, December, and January. That's the only time of the year we do it. This is our 3rd season. Then all of our other videos are more cooking, gardening, still all about intentionally living type videos. We get into certain topics and so forth. It really depends on what's going on in our lives, on what content we can push out. And so I hope that you join us, and we'll see you Monday for our next video. Have a great night.